Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Greater Houston Partnership's 2015 State of the City Address. Please rise for the presentation of colors by the Houston Police Department Color Guard and the singing of our national anthem, performed by 7th grader Nicholas Connors of Parkview Middle School, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by HPD Honor Guard member Gene Seeley.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light once so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so valiantly streaming, and the rockets reckless, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for a short prayer led by Pastor Jim Harrington, Harbor Church.
Would you pray with me? Loving God, we come to acknowledge you today as the giver of all good gifts. Thank you for the opportunity to live and serve in this jewel of a city. Today I thank you for our mayor and the leaders of our city government. Thank you for the sacrifices they make to serve and to love the people of this great city. Thank you for our mayor's clear vision and her deep commitment to all of the citizens of this city. As we gather here today, help us to remember your blessings. We give thanks for the food, and we ask that you would be honored in this experience. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President and CEO of the Greater Houston Partnership, Bob Harvey.
All right, please take your seats. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bob Harvey. I'm the President and CEO of the Greater Houston Partnership, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Partnership's annual State of the City Luncheon featuring the Honorable Mayor Annise Parker. Please join me in thanking first the Rice University Marching Owl Band, the Houston Police Department Color Guard, as well as the following individuals. Let me name. First, Gene Seeley for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, Nicholas Connors and I want to say that again, Nicholas Connors of Parkview Middle School for singing our national anthem. And Reverend Jim Harrington of Harbor Church for providing today's invocation. Thank you all for being part of today's program. As you all know, the Greater Houston Partnership works to make Houston greater. For more than 175 years, we've tackled the region's most pressing issues. Today, our scope encompasses 11 counties, the 11-county Greater Houston region, anchored, of course, by the city of Houston. And that's why we're all here today. We all care about Houston. Whether or not we live or do business in the city proper, we all know the economic health and vitality of our entire region is linked to the well-being of the city of Houston. Now, the partnership spends a great deal of its energy looking ahead and pursuing strategies that we believe will continue to attract jobs and investment to the region and enhance our quality of life. We believe that it's absolutely critical for the business community to play a constructive and leading role when it comes to issues that could affect the long-term success of our region. Looking ahead for the city, we observe a number of issues before us. Whether it's the pothole crisis, as the mayor has termed it, our aging underground water and sewer infrastructure, we have a number of public works challenges ahead. But people coming to our city by tens of thousands each year expect great streets, modern airports, vibrant public spaces, great libraries, and the like. All of these things are required to make a great global city. As our Municipal Finance Task Force found late last year, the city is currently facing a structural financial deficit which could impact, and probably already is impacting, core city services. Basically, this means the city will continue to have more annual expenses to pay than it has tax revenues coming in, regardless of how well the regional economy is performing. Now, our leaders have been good about managing these annual shortfalls with small strategic fixes. But it's time that we come together to look at a long-term strategy, which, yes, includes taking a look at our unfunded pension liabilities and the overall cost of post-retirement benefits for city employees. Now, we must pay our municipal workers, and in particular our police officers and firefighters, a fair wage with a secure retirement, but the cost has to be reasonable. Now, nothing I have said is at odds with what the mayor has said on this topic. We look at the same data and we come to the same conclusions. The mayor's hands are tied by state law that keeps control of municipal pensions in Austin, and this simply must change. 2 bills in Austin as we speak, one by Representative Jim Murphy and the other by Senator Paul Bettencourt, would shift control of municipal pensions to the cities where we believe they belong. Now, shifting back to today's event, this will be Mayor Parker's final State of the City address, and I want to thank Mayor Parker for her 18 years of public service as an elected official of the City of Houston. I also want to thank you for your tireless advocacy for Houston around the globe, and I know you're leaving for India tomorrow, you and Kathy, and I know you'll represent Houston extremely well as you have when we've traveled together. But I also want to thank you for here at home for your insistence that Houston be a diverse, welcoming community for all. Thank you for your leadership in this area as well. So like everyone here, I look forward to hearing your plans for the remainder of your term, and I hope for your reflections on your legacy as mayor. Now, before we move forward with the program, please turn your attention to this brief video acknowledging our sponsors for today's event.
Ladies and gentlemen, the generous support of our members is essential to the success of the Greater Houston Partnership and allows us to continue our work of making Houston one of the world's best places to live, work, and build a business. Please join me in thanking today's State of the City Diamond sponsor, Chevron. Our State of the City major sponsors are CDM Smith, CH2M Hill, Pepper Lawson, Comcast Cable, Pierpont Communications, Inc., Southwest Airlines. Today's gold level sponsors are Bracewell and Giuliani LLP, Dannenbaum Engineering Corporation, ExxonMobil Corporation, HEB, Linebarger Gogan Blair and Sampson LLP, Odebrecht Brascom, Shell Oil Company, Wells Fargo. Our silver level sponsors are AECOM, AIG, Andrews Kurth LLC, BHP Billiton Petroleum, BP America Inc., Cigna Healthcare of Texas Inc., Clear Channel Outdoor, HDR Engineering Inc., Houston Association of Realtors, Houston Contractors Association, HVJ Associates Inc., Kroger Company, Lone Star College System, MD Anderson Cancer Center, Norton Rose Fulbright, Port of Houston Authority, RPS Klotz Associates Inc., Silver Eagle Distributors LP, Traffic Engineers Inc., University of Houston, UT Health, and Winstead PC. Today's State of the City underwriters are Networking Cafe underwriter, Reliant, an NRG company. Photography underwriter, TXU Energy. Also thanks to our staging partner, JSAV, and our production partner, Vision Production Group. The Greater Houston Partnership would like to express sincere appreciation to the members of Houston's Consular Corps for everything they do to establish positive foreign relations between the Houston region and their respective countries. Their leadership is invaluable to building and maintaining our international network. The Greater Houston Partnership would also like to acknowledge our elected officials, the men and women who represent Houston at the local, state, and federal level. We look forward to continuing to work with all of our elected officials in 2015. Please join us in thanking all of our sponsors, members of the Consular Corps, and our elected officials for all that they do for our region.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all of our sponsors for today's event. Now, before we continue, I did want to ask you to pull out your smartphones and add 2 upcoming events that I know you won't want to miss. The first is entitled Rise to the Top. This event on May 15th will feature a panel of executives with insight into how women can be successful in the workplace in all phases of their careers. The second is a new event for the partnership that we're calling State of Houston's Global Economy. This will be held on May 27th, and I hope you'll be there to join us for this new event. And at this time, I would like to welcome Bob Borkoff. Bob, as many of you know, is owner of Cafe Adobe Restaurants, and he's chair of the partnership's Government Relations Advisory Committee. Bob, if you'll come to the stage to recognize our elected officials. Thank you.
I have the treacherous honor of announcing the names of the elected government officials who are here today. And before I do that, I want to say thank you to everybody who's here. The first time I attended one of these State of the City luncheons, I had the surprise and pleasure of learning that from Mayor Louis Welch that Houston had surpassed Chicago in size, and we were no longer the 5th largest city, but the 4th largest city. And that was a little over 30 years ago. And I think this might be the most important, certainly one of the top 3 most important luncheons in the city, because the state of the city impacts all of us, and I'm looking forward to hearing what our mayor has to say today. So, with that in mind, it's the city's day, and I want to thank the following city council members who are here today. And if you would, just stand up when I call your name, but hold your applause because we have a good long list, and I'm going to announce everybody, but we want to do it in an efficient manner. Councilmember Dwight Boykins, Councilmember C.O. Brad Bradford, Councilmember Jack Christie, Councilmember Ellen Cohen, Councilmember Stephen Costello, Councilmember Jerry Davis, Councilmember Robert Gallegos, Councilmember Ed Gonzalez, Councilmember Larry Green, Councilmember Michael Kubosh, Councilmember Dave Martin, Councilmember Richard Nguyen, Councilmember David Robinson, and Councilmember Brenda Stardig. Thank you very much. We also have some metro area elected officials. From the city of Pasadena, we have Mayor Johnny Isbell. From Sugar Land, Councilmember Harish Jaju, and Fulshire Mayor Tommy Kirkendall. Also from Sugar Land, we have Councilmember Joe Zimmerman and City of Spring Valley Village Mayor Tom Ramsey. Thank you. Harris County Attorney Vince Ryan, Tax Assessor Collector Michael Sullivan, County Clerk Stan Stannert, and our Sheriff Adrian Garcia. The treacherous part just struck. I want to say that Councilmember Mike Laster is also here. We have some community college trustees, HCC trustees Zeph Capo, trustee Sandy Mullins, Eva Laredo, and Christopher Oliver. Two ISD trustees from Alief, Tiffany Thomas, and Houston ISD trustee Wanda Adams. We have a few appointed officials in the Consular Corps, and I'm going to tell you those folks as well, so please stand. Port of Houston Authority Chairman Janice Longoria, Commissioner Dean Corgi, Commissioner Clyde Fitzgerald, and Commissioner Theldon Branch III. There are over 90 consul generals in our area, and I'm not going to read them. I am going to thank the ones that I know are here, and it's not a large group, but those who are here, we sincerely appreciate you being here today. Khalid Radi, and this is the part where if I mispronounce your name, please forgive me. I think I know you all, though. Phil Aronoff, Nozomu Takauka, Lyndon Rose, Anna Thompson Holiday, Juan Souza, Astrid Markland, Charles Foster, and Firhat Alkin. I want to tell you that I hope you enjoy your lunch today, and thank you for listening to all of those names, and thank you. Please thank all the folks that stood today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chair of the Greater Houston Partnership, Gina Luna.
Good afternoon. I hope you're enjoying your lunch, and I want to invite you to continue eating, but we're going to get started with our program. My name is Gina Luna, and I am the chair of the Greater Houston Partnership, and I want to thank you again for joining us today. It's great to have this crowded room. Since our founding 175 years ago as the Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Houston Partnership has worked to make Houston even greater, and the City of Houston has been a vital partner every step of the way. Throughout our history, the partnership and the business community have enjoyed an effective relationship with the mayor's office across many administrations. One of the key priorities that the partnership and the City of Houston share is economic development. Over the years, we've worked closely to bring jobs and investments to Houston. Tomorrow, in fact, Mayor Parker and the partnership will embark on a trade mission to India to promote Houston as a top destination for foreign investment. It's these kind of public-private collaborations that propel Houston to the ranks of the world's top global cities. Beyond economic development, we've collaborated with Mayor Parker on numerous endeavors, including increasing global connectivity of our airports, working to ensure Houston remains on firm financial footing, fostering diversity within our community, and improving our parks and our bayou green spaces. All that being said, the relationship between Houston's business community and the City of Houston has been critical work of making Houston greater. I believe this city's strengths stem from the willingness of us to all work together to invest in people and create a great city. We've been blessed with strong leaders with great vision who continue the work the Allen brothers started 177 years ago. Mayor Parker, on behalf of the partnership, thank you for your leadership and your service to Houston. We look forward to working with you throughout the remainder of your term to make Houston even greater. And now, as this is Mayor Parker's final State of the City address, her staff has arranged for Houston's very own Poet Laureate, Gwendolyn Zepeda, to make a special presentation. She will be followed by Jovan Tyler, the mayor's eldest son, who will come to the stage to introduce the Honorable Mayor Parker. Please welcome Houston's Poet Laureate, Gwendolyn Zepeda.
Hello, everyone. This is called Poem for Mayor Parker in Recognition. When the architect made his plan, he imagined his name on the stone, but didn't foretell the eventual demise of his creation, its reduction to rubble. Meanwhile, the gardener works each day as long as the sun's up on little things, trimming twigs and leaves, removing rot, cultivating around the rocks that don't give way. She shapes the trees while seeing them 20 years taller, doesn't plant a thing until it's pictured in her mind in every season, from every angle, in light or shade. And all of this might someday be covered with weeds. She tries to leave things neat to make it easy for any other gardener who might come along. She watches the dirt, the sharp metal in her hands. She watches things we can't yet see, the grass when it's turned greener, the mockingbird's return, and someone's great-grandchildren laughing under honeysuckle flowers. Thank you, Mayor Parker, for your continued advocacy for the arts in Houston.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mayor Parker's son, Jovan Tyler.
For once in my life, I am someone who did me.
The voice of God told you who I was, but I want to introduce the ladies who are standing here with me. This is my sister, Marquita Parker, my sister, Daniela Parker, and my other sister, Sherry Parker. Imagine the heart of a woman who sees a child living on the streets of Houston and reaches into her pocket and hands him the key to her home. Imagine the soul of a woman who hears the story of two very young girls who are sisters, who desperately need a home to grow up in that's safe and loving. This woman offers her own home as a place of love and protection. Imagine the courage of a woman who witnesses neglect and mistreatment of yet another child, and who stands up and says, "Enough is enough. I will take this child into my home, and I will love her and raise her as my own. For those of us standing here today, we don't have to imagine this woman. We've all lived with her, and we all love her. Those experiences that I talked about are our experiences. This woman I've been speaking about is our mother.
I, Anise Parker, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
the
duties of the office of Mayor of the City of Houston,
To work with you on the pressing issues and challenges we face is my mission.
We're going to stay aggressive in targeting illegal guns, drugs, and gangs.
We have made a pledge to make our city safer.
The ordinance passes 11 votes to 6 votes.
Every Houstonian needs to be aware that human trafficking exists in our community.
City of Houston wants to be the city that takes care of its veterans.
The heart, the soul, the courage of our mother and your mayor, I'm proud to present to you Mayor Anise Parker.
Thank you. To the kids, I want to say thank you very much. That was lovely. Javon, thank you. And to the girls. Hard on the mascara, but good for the heart. I also want to acknowledge that I'm joined today by my wife, Kathy Hubbard, and it feels really great to be able to say that. Today is April 16th, and Kathy, as a small business owner who's had her own tax practice for 25 years, usually this event is a few days too early for her to attend, so I'm glad that she could be here. And Pastor Harrington, thank you for the invocation today. If you want to know one of the pastors in Houston who has my ear on a regular basis, and advises me, and I appreciate that. I want to thank the number of elected officials who are here, particularly the large showing from Houston City Council. While this is a strong mayor system and I have a lot of the authority, policy comes through City Council, and I'm always aware of that, and I recognize their independence as elected officials, and I appreciate their support of the many initiatives that you saw listed on the screen. They would not have happened without the Houston City Council, and a thanks to all of the other public officials who are here. So thank you again. And just as an aside, Barbara Bush, who I'm a huge fan of Barbara Bush, and she advised me, we were having lunch sitting next to each other one day, to never say anything about your food preferences, because if you say you like something, that you're going to be served that at a banquet forever after. I am really sorry about the Brussels sprouts. Yeah. I want to welcome you here this afternoon, and I thank you for the opportunity for what is really going to be a little bit of a look back over my administration. Today I stand before you for the 6th and final time, and I admit it is a somewhat bittersweet occasion. It is time to celebrate accomplishments, but it's also a reminder to me that my time as mayor is running out. My time to do more is limited. I love this city. I love the people who live here. I love the possibilities available here. And that love has driven every decision I have made as mayor. But I want to talk to you first about my Houston. I talk about Houston a lot. I've had an unprecedented amount of media attention as mayor, and it's given me an unparalleled opportunity to talk about Houston to the world, to talk about my city to the world. And I want you to take note of that. I talk about it as my Houston. I talk about it as my city. I was born here, and I have spent all my adult working life here in Houston, but it's not my city because of that. As mayor, I'm the public face and voice of the city. I perform ceremonial duties, I provide routine information, I give crisis communications. It's my city for far more than that. In a strong mayor city, I not only lead the city, but I run the city. But it's my city in more ways than that, too. I'm really not talking about my public role at all. Each of us has a way of knowing Houston as mine. And that may be the best thing about my city. And that is that it's your city. It's her city, it's his city, it's their city, it's our city. It has nothing to do with birthplace. It isn't about how long one has lived here. It's not about the jobs we hold. It's not about what language we first spoke. As we become Houstonians, as we become hers, we each know Houston as ours. And we treat her that way. You know, I grew up out in the Spring Branch area, and it was the countryside back then. And I was telling somebody the other day that I watched the Galleria being built, and they looked at me like I was ancient. But I woke up one morning, and I discovered that I lived in a thriving, exciting, hardworking global village, surrounded by immigrants and refugees and transplants and visitors and natives, and we all belong. That belonging is vital. It's really a pretty amazing phenomenon. The more we each claim, my Houston, our Houston, the more there is of Houston to share. New people, new places, new opportunities, each one welcome. You know, everyone has heard the analogy of cities as a melting pot, where differences all melt away. And then some cities are described as the tossed salad, where everything's kind of jumbled up together, but each retains its differentness, its separateness. We're the fusion of Korean braised pork tacos with a side of saag paneer and a glass of St. Arnold's. That's Houston, and that's important. But something else happens when Houston belongs to each of us. When it's my Houston. And we understand that it's everyone else's my Houston. We expect everyone else to give back. We expect everyone else to care. We join together to house Katrina evacuees. We share power after Ike. We show up on a Sunday morning to plant trees. We expect each other to put Houston first. And every day I see that happen. Throughout my time as mayor, actually throughout almost 18 years of public service, I've worked hard every day to put Houston first. The payoff is a Houston that is better prepared for the future, that is better off today than it was 5 years ago. I am proudly able to say today that the state of our city remains strong and healthy, and we are well prepared for the future. But you already knew that. See, that wasn't an applause line. Low oil prices have slowed our growth. I spent 20 years working in the oil industry. I understand how we are always checking the pulse of the oil industry. But our economy is broader and deeper and more resilient than it has ever been. And all the trends are going in the right direction. This is a pothole in the road to our future. It's not a big detour. It's not an opportunity to turn around. Now, while our city is strong and it is healthy, there are challenges. Bob Harvey, in his remarks, touched on them. Rapid population growth is a good problem to have, but it creates a complex of challenges that we have to address. Aging infrastructure remains a problem, and there are punishing pension obligations that the city has to lift. There is no major city that doesn't have challenges. Again, I repeat, there are none better prepared to meet those challenges than the city of Houston. Among those who have led our city before me, there have been reform mayors, infrastructure mayors, public safety mayors, business mayors. I like to think I've done a little bit of all of that. But for today, I'll just say that I have always put Houston first. And that I believe that political capital is the only kind of capital that should be spent very freely. And I've tried to do that. There has been a lot to celebrate over the last 5 years. But one of the most gratifying things has been getting to watch the rest of the world take notice and begin to view our Houston, my Houston, through a different lens. The national headlines continue to tell the story of our success in all of those lists that, of course, put Houston first. Of course, none of that would have been accomplished without the support of my senior staff, the city workforce, city council, our partners in other governmental agencies, and, of course, the residents of Houston. Thank all of you for putting Houston first. And I'm going to take one more opportunity to ask every city employee and the city council members, who are, of course, city employees, to stand one more time so we can acknowledge those who work very hard every day to take care of us. So, here's my chance to talk a little bit about what we've been doing for the last 5 years, 3 months, and 15 and a half days to put Houston first. We've put people to work. It started with the Hire Houston First program to promote economic opportunity for Houston businesses and support job creation by granting preference to local companies as long as their pricing is competitive. Since the program began, more than 1,400 companies have registered to participate in Hiring Houston. Likewise, we are helping minority and women-owned firms compete and grow. During my administration, more than $1.2 billion worth of city contracts have gone to these underutilized companies. Our MWBE program has existed for 30 years. In the last 5 years, we have spent more than 1/4 of all the work awarded in that program's history, and I'm very proud of that. Our wage theft ordinance helps ensure that every dollar paid, or for every dollar earned, there is a dollar paid. And our payday lending ordinance cracks down on predatory lenders. And in fact, I hope the state is listening to that, because we need a statewide payday lending ordinance. We've removed the obstacles to housing that often prevent the homeless from being able to hold down gainful employment. In fact, Houston is now leading the nation in reducing homelessness. Our community-driven, comprehensive approach, known as the Way Home, has cut our homeless population in half in just the last 3 years. We've also housed more than 3,500 homeless veterans. I'm very proud of that. It is a stain on our honor as a country that we have so many homeless veterans, but no city has done a better job in taking them off the streets than the city of Houston. We are on track to be able to declare that we have ended chronic homelessness by the end of my term in office, and I'm not going to let up until I'm able to make that announcement. Continuing in jobs in the economy, I privatized our convention facilities into the Houston First Corporation, and it's leading the transformation of the convention district amid a burst of new commercial and residential construction. Last year at this time, we broke ground on our second convention center hotel, and today the 1,000-room Marriott Marquis is close to topping out, just across Discovery Green. But I also want to note that organized labor was at the table throughout those negotiations and throughout this process, and it, like the Hilton Americas, where you are today, will be a union hotel. At our airports, we've invested more than $1 billion in improvements. 8 new carriers have joined us, and 3 more intend to start operations here this year. And an amazing fact, for every new airline that's come over the last few years, they have increased the number of flights. And in fact, most of them have increased the number of flights before they ever took off the ground for the first time. The demand for international flights out of Houston is so strong. Last month, international flights returned to Hobby, the first since 1969. And with the new international terminal on schedule, more will happen this fall. Before the end of the year, we'll see the relocation of the Lone Star Flight Museum at Ellington Airport and a decision on whether Ellington will be home to a commercial spaceport. We are still looking for the stars. The numbers are proof that we are getting the job done. From January of 2010 through last December, the Houston region created just under 500,000 jobs and has led the nation in housing permits 5 years in a row. Whether it's a new high-rise in Uptown or downtown, expansion in our medical center, or new terminals at the airport, all of these projects are transforming the look and feel of Houston, and they made food on the table and better futures for thousands of Houston families. Those construction jobs are in high demand right now. The city's crime rate is the lowest in decades. The backlog of untested rape kits is no more. 30 years worth of backlog is no more. Our sobering center is a model for the nation. Hundreds of rundown properties owned by slumlords have been bulldozed. We've cracked down on illegal game room operations, and we've outlawed the sale and use of so-called synthetic marijuana. We restored trust in our crime lab, and we have made it independent. A unique cooperative arrangement has financed a new human trafficking unit at HPD. It was a little controversial when we started it, not the trafficking unit, but the deal. But in 2013, there were 28 human trafficking-related charges filed in Houston. Last year, that number jumped to 101. Human trafficking tips have increased more than 1,000%. Thank you. And we love being number one in just about everything, but not in human trafficking. HPD and HFD are the most diverse they've ever been. In fact, HFD's latest class of recruits was nearly 60% women and minorities. A huge, huge change. HFD also celebrated the first promotion of a woman to the position of Executive Assistant Fire Chief in the department's history. It is a different fire chief, certainly, but a different fire department, and it's moving in the right direction. Both departments suffered some tragic losses over the last few years. Each department has taken lessons learned from those losses and used those lessons to make changes to keep our first responders safer. At BARC, our animal shelter, euthanasia is down. The live release rate is at an all-time high of 80%, and we are using creative public-private partnerships to increase the city's spay-neuter rate and decrease the number of stray animals roaming our streets. In fact, next month we're going to do the ribbon cutting for our new adoption center at BARC. Challenging and changing the status quo of decades is always difficult. And some of the problems that we tackled were very long-standing, but it's necessary to tackle them when you're putting Houston first. We see the impact when a rape victim's assailant is finally charged, when our city is safer than it was 5 years ago, when our neighborhoods are free of rundown properties that harbor crime and drugs, when a young immigrant is saved from a life of slavery, when chances are less that a child will be bitten by a stray dog, and in fact, someone killed by a stray dog, a pack of stray dogs in Houston last year. And when the city workforce looks like the rest of Houston. All of these are important. will celebrate completion of the restoration of Buffalo Biopark. The vision was for the bio to become our central park. There are more bridges, new lighting, improved trails, a restaurant, more trees, and a performance area. And people have been dodging the bulldozers for an opportunity to experience Buffalo Biopark. And I want to take this opportunity again to thank Rich and Nancy Kinder and the Kinder Foundation for the lead gift, making this wonderful transformation and this gift to Houston possible. It's truly beautiful. And they put Houston first in their philanthropy. In addition to the work along Buffalo Bio, the Centennial Gardens have been completed at Herman Park. Memorial Park has been entirely reimagined. Emancipation Park is under construction. Moody Park Community Center has been rebuilt. Hike and bike trails have been added along our bios and utility easements, and the largest skate park in North America is now open in far north Houston. Where's Councilmember Davis? Okay, get it done. But be forewarned, we're not going to stand any longer for city trees, whether in parks or along city rights-of-way, being cut down. We've had some eye-popping settlements, and we're going to continue that aggressive stance. And yes, we love trees in Houston. We like a green Houston. Visit any of the places I've mentioned, and you'll see youngsters of all ages pedaling, running, skateboarding, fishing, working out, or just lounging in the grass. You'll even see dogs enjoying freedom from the leash at our many new dog parks. Yet to come is a first-rate botanic garden and a restored Gus Wortham golf course. We'll reap the benefits of the investment in our greener Houston for decades to come. A greener Houston also means a sustainable Houston. The city has launched many programs that reduce costs, increase efficiencies, and improve the environment. We benchmark our greenhouse gas emissions from 2007, and I want to thank former Mayor Bill White for a very tight focus on air quality in Houston and setting us on the path to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We've reduced since then 32%. There's another 10% that will be accomplished by the end of this year, and we're very excited about that for a 42% reduction since our benchmark year. And a lot of that is being helped by our partnership with CenterPoint to convert 165,000 streetlights to LED technology, the largest conversion program in the nation. We're proud of that, and it's going to pay off not just a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, but the $28 million savings to the city of Houston just in energy costs. We're meeting present and future transportation and environmental challenges by expanding Metro's light rail to 4 routes and a total of 39 miles. And there may be some Metro board members here. I don't know. I don't think they were introduced. But next month, finally, 6 months late, but finally, we will be celebrating those 2 latest lines. We're very excited about that. And of course, later this summer, the reimagined bus system will begin to roll out. That bus system, that new bus system, is an absolute game changer for transit in Houston. And then soon, we'll have the first bus rapid transit line in Houston coming through the uptown area. I'm an avid recycler, and I promised that I would do more for recycling in Houston, and the last single-stream Big Green rolling recycling bin was delivered last month, fulfilling my promise to complete expansion of curbside recycling to every single-family household that is served by the City of Houston Solid Waste Department. And we are excited about the possibilities there. But we're ever a city to look into the future, and we are continuing to explore innovative ways to increase waste diversion And I hope later this summer to announce the progress of our One Bin for All proposal. All of these investments in Houston First are keeping trash out of our landfills, improving the air we breathe, improving prospects for children with asthma, and expanding transportation options for the future. Putting Houston first means fixing our streets. And yeah, we need to do that. Number one thing I'm asked after what I'm going to do with the Astrodome. I'm glad you laughed, because I have nothing to do with the Astrodome. Is what can we do about the streets? We have secured funding through Rebuild Houston for a long-term comprehensive plan for a complete overhaul of the street and drainage system in Houston. But we've also implemented a crisis management plan to catch up on the number of potholes that we admittedly failed to realize were going to spring up across the city at quite such a pace. It took years to get into this situation. It's not going to take nearly as long to get out of it, but Houston drivers will need patience. We're spending more than ever before to improve our streets and drainage, and I want to talk a little bit about our Rebuild Houston initiative. This pay-as-you-go program has committed more than $655 million of your dollars to improvements. Almost 100 projects have been completed. 515 miles of street have been rebuilt or paved. 697 miles of ditches have been graded, and 188 miles of storm sewer line have been cleaned. There's more to come. But a reminder to everyone here, there are 6,000 miles of roads in Houston, 16,000 lane miles. It's a lot of roads, a lot of potholes. We are getting it done to the very best of our ability. And I look forward to reporting on the progress throughout the course of the year. In 2015, throughout this 2015, there are more than 220 additional projects that will either begin construction or advance closer to completion. Whether it's updating our cultural plan, embarking on the city's first ever general plan, or winning approval of real protections for our historic structures, planning for the future while making sure we don't forget our past is also part of a Houston First approach. We celebrated restoration of the beautiful Julia Idison Library, begun by my predecessor. We rescued the remains of Bethel Church in the 4th Ward after years of neglect, and we're restoring the Deluxe Theater. Work in the 4th Ward will rehabilitate sewer lines while restoring the neighborhood's historic brick streets, always putting Houston first. Putting Houston first means a healthier Houston. We've improved the health of the city workforce, reduced taxpayer costs for city employee health care benefits, brought fresh fruits and vegetables to food deserts, eliminated the dangers of secondhand smoke in city green spaces, and made our city more accessible to people who ride bicycles. In fact, good luck to all those who are going to be riding in the MS-150 this weekend. I think there's some 70+ city employees who are going to be doing that as well. In 2014, the League of American Bicyclists honored the city of Houston for the first time ever with a bicycle-friendly community designation. Ridership in our extremely popular bike share program, Houston B-Cycle, continues to increase. We've joined a major bike safety campaign known as Goal Zero to educate motorists and cyclists about sharing the road. We passed a new safe passing ordinance to increase safety for those who travel on 2 wheels instead of 4. And I want to thank my Mayor Pro Tem, Ed Gonzalez, for constantly working to improve these issues and working with me to get these things passed. Some of you may have dodged the city's first two-way green cycle track in downtown Houston, which will ultimately connect the Columbia Tap Bike Trail to Discovery Green and then to Buffalo Bio. This year, we will finish a comprehensive bike plan to provide a roadmap for expanding out our network, but also connecting that off-road network that we've been building to the last mile, to the businesses, to the homes, to the neighborhood parks where we need to connect. And then through our Sunday Streets program, we're closing our streets and encouraging Houstonians to get outside for physical activity, socialize with neighbors, and enjoy and patronize our diverse small businesses. Putting Houston first when I first took office meant hard choices. I began by having to lay off nearly 800 city employees to help balance the budget. But we are leaner and more efficient than ever before. And our headcount in the city has stayed down as we have figured out how to do more with technology and a better deployment of resources. We have a new emphasis on performance improvement and data-driven management, and that's generated millions of dollars in savings, and it's generated millions of dollars in new revenue. We have new financial policies that require strengthened financial reserves, and we're meeting those reserves. We have a greater emphasis on maintenance of physical assets. The policy had always been, we build something, we let it deteriorate, we tear it down, we build it again. Now we're setting aside money for ongoing maintenance. And I appreciate all the members of council, and particularly Councilmember Costello as the chair of Fiscal Affairs, for digging down and making sure that we now have a line item in every city budget that commits to the maintenance of our facilities. And it's a good thing long term. We've increased long-term forecasting and planning, we've improved internal controls, and we are providing more transparency for taxpayers and elected officials. And I would note that Controller Green, who's not here today, but who has continued to garner awards for the City of Houston in the amount of data that we put up on our financial system so that anybody can look. If you don't like what we're doing, we give you an opportunity to peek behind the curtain and make your own decisions. And then finally, I want to touch on something that has been discussed a bit, and I know Bob Harvey talked about it a little bit, and that's the agreement reached last month with the Houston Fire Pension. I have never said this agreement represents pension reform, because it does not. However, its passage would mark the first time the Fire Pension has recognized that pension costs threaten our ability to provide other crucial services to our taxpayers. This agreement is the first step toward a constructive relationship between the system and future mayors. And it was kind of hard for them to be nice to me and vice versa. I had sued them 3 times, and I introduced a plan to completely replace the pension. However, I believe that we have set the table for the next mayor to make more progress. This agreement, should it pass, brings firefighter contributions more in line with the contributions of firefighters in other cities across Texas. It provides the city with budget certainty for the next 3 years, and it does not in any way worsen the problem. I do not believe in kicking the can down the road. Finally, in my Houston, in your Houston, in our Houston, we value equal rights for all. Last spring, the Houston Equal Rights Ordinance became law. And I want to thank Councilmember Cohen and Councilmember Laster for being the whips on that, and the many council members who voted for the Houston Equal Rights Ordinance. Many of you here today helped with this effort, and I remain truly thankful for that help. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to enact that law because of ongoing court challenges. However, I am confident of victory, whether in the courts or in the ballot box. And as I said a year ago, standing before you, Houston is an amazing place. We don't care where you come from. We don't care the color of your skin, your age, your gender, what physical limitations you may have, or who you choose to love. We will always put Houston and all Houstonians first. So we're on the home stretch here. In a few months, I'll no longer have the best job I've ever had, and arguably one of the best political jobs in America. I couldn't achieve every goal. I couldn't solve every problem. And in fact, I recognize that cities are never finished. Cities are in constant motion. Cities are 24/7, and they're constantly rolling forward into the future. There's always a new challenge. But whether it's our infrastructure, our public safety, our quality of life, our economy, or our finances, there's not a single problem that has come before me that isn't better now than it was 5 years ago, because we worked on it, and we worked on it together, and we fixed everything we possibly could. So thank you for that. Now, with that in mind, I've been thinking a lot about what I want from the person who will replace me as mayor. Apparently, the man who will replace me as mayor. Being mayor requires more than rhetoric about hiring more police officers, filling more potholes, or magically eliminating pension debt. The mayor has to know how to pay for it. A mayor has to know how to make it happen. A mayor has to be able to assemble a leadership team that actually makes things happen within the city. It's easy to point out problems. The hard part is offering solutions. How will the candidates for mayor put Houston first? I want a mayor who will fight to keep Houston first as a national and world leader. A mayor who knows that 1 in 4 Houstonians is foreign-born, and that we all are an international city, and one who works to continue international business development. I want a mayor who also recognizes the importance of providing opportunity in poor and minority neighborhoods, who understands that District G and District K, Councilmember Green, both desperately need the attention of the city, and both contribute to our economy. I want a mayor who will continue to work collaboratively with our local government partners, particularly in our many joint efforts with Harris County. And while I'm here, Judge Emmett called me this morning. He is celebrating the birth of a new grandchild last night, so he's not with us, and I want to offer my congratulations to him and to Gwen on that. But the relationship between the City of Houston and Harris County has never been stronger, and I hope the new mayor will continue to work hard. I want a mayor who tells the truth, even when very few people want to hear it. I want a mayor who tackles the hard problems head on and tackles them first. Because I want a mayor who will put Houston first. And I want a mayor who loves this city as much as everybody in this room. Of course, I'll work as hard as I can in the time remaining to me. And then I will continue after that, supporting to the best of my ability that next mayor working with you to put Houston first. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Let's have, if we could, one more round of applause for Mayor Annise Parker. Thank you all for coming. I look forward to seeing you at our next event. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.